Check, 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 check. Hello. For a while now, I've kind of wanted to just kind of delve through some old short stories I'd sold and just kind of read them in this kind of format, just to, I don't know. I haven't read these in a long time, and I thought it'd be cool to kind of discover I know it's really solely for me, unfortunately, because I'm living my life, but just to see how much I've grown and, where I was writing a story. If you're a writer, when you were working on a story, you can kind of remember where you were in life, and I thought it'd be kind of neat to read some old fiction. Hopefully you guys are interested in, my short fiction, but I don't know. I don't even know if I'll post this, to be honest, but I just grabbed a random book off my shelf. This anthology is The Dead Inside. It was published by Dark Dispatch and edited by Sandra, Ruttan, and Laurel Hightower. Hey, Laurel. Hope you're well. And yeah, I believe it was 2022. And yeah, I don't know. Let's just find out where I was, I guess, in life and whatnot. I actually haven't read this since it was published, so let's see how this goes. The story is titled An Evaluation. I stop before the red door, inhale, exhale, and straighten my tie. A siren screams far away, its pain cries bellowing deep from within the city. I glance down the hall, alone but for the webbed grid of tiles and red doors lining the corridor. I lift my hand and knock. Pause. The fluorescent bulb above me buzzes with anticipation. Here he goes. Something drips onto my extended hand, and an oil-esque liquid crawls down my wrist. I look to the ceiling for its origin. A voice calls from beyond the door. Come in. I jolt and wipe my hands on my pants, thankful they're black as well, and open the door. A palpable wall of burning incense swarms my entirety, dancing within my nostrils, melding with the tang of blood clinging onto my tongue. A familiar warmth I'd long forgotten. White scrolls rife with Japanese calligraphy adorn the walls in pairs, centuries bookending ornate rugs hung between them. The hardwood floor is polished, and the overhead lights gleam amidst the mocha brown. There's a cleanliness here, less dentist's office, more housemaid a home. A Gohonzon shrine lies in the room's corner. Strings of incense burn atop its many shelves, enveloping the bronze singing bowl and dissipating wisps. A woman around my age, early 30s or so, stands from behind her desk and smiles. She's dressed in a black and white kimono, hair done up in the old way. A pair of chopsticks tying it all together. Koi fish and straw hats glide along a blue river on the rug hung behind her. Her face is kind, and as she rounds her desk, she stops, notices my outstretched hand, and bows instead. I do the same. More traditional here. Good to know. We rise, and sizzling incense fills my lungs. Makes me crave tea. It's Scott, right? She asks, a smile lining her face. I open my mouth and she giggles. I kid. You allow me a joke now and then. We're not all business around here. We like to have fun. You like to have fun, right, Scott? Yeah, sure. Her smile widens and she motions to a chair at the desk. I sit as she returns to her own, swiveling to a table bearing a teapot. As it begins to boil, she lifts the soothe kettle from the hot plate, pouring into 2 cups I'd all but missed, the faint smell of fried cabbage intermingling with the incense on the air. Must have just finished lunch. She turns to me, a steaming cup in each hand, offers me one. How was your journey? Comfortable? Fine. Good, I say, accepting the cup. My fingertips warmed through the porcelain. How did I get here? The bus? Yeah, I remember a bus. Focus, you need this. Splendid, she says, and retakes her seat beneath the koi fish rug. Her computer is ancient and covers most of her desk. Reminds me of grade school circa 1997. She taps the spacebar once, twice, and chimes roll from unseen speakers. Just pulling your application and resume before we begin, okay? I sip my tea, nodding. Sure, take your time. The shrine, the tapestries, maybe employees furnish their own offices? Maps adorn the wall nearest the shrine, on either side of a Felix the cat clock, whose eyes move opposite the swaying of its tail. Two maps. The left, Japan. The right, Okinawa. My grandma, I say, gesturing to the maps with my cup. She's from Okinawa. I'm actually a quarter Japanese. I'm actually a third, but at the time I thought I was a quarter. She looks up from her work, sets down her tea. Oh, she says and glances at me, seemingly disinterested, before resuming her typing. You know, I see it now that you mention it. I chuckle. Yeah, I get that a lot. I point towards the shrine in the room's corner. She has a shrine like that too. Prays every day. She leans back from her screen, brows scrunched, and yet, here you marked white as your race on the application. She sips her tea, burrowing into me with her brown eyes. Why not mark Asian, Japanese as well? The program allows for multiple responses. I clear my throat. I tend to just check the one. The majority, well, it's easier. Interesting, she says, sipping her tea again. I adjust my posture. What's that? She sets down her tea. Masking one's identity to, at least in your mind, increase your chances at a particular occupation. She swivels in her chair, takes the pot from the table behind her. Is a bit like dying, no? She refills her cup. Like murdering yourself. I crack a smile, breath snared in my burning lungs, and shake my head when she lifts the kettle to me. Can't say I've ever thought of it like that. Her smile disintegrates, thin lips in a taut line. No one likes a liar, Scotty Putty. My chest tightens and a chill runs up my neck. The cat clock's tail stops, its eyes stuck to me. What? I say, heart pounding. What did you just call me? My nose itches and I catch the first bit of blood with the lip of my cup. Not now. She reaches in one of her desk drawers, hands me a baby blue handkerchief. Sorry, I say, setting my tea by her nameplate, holding my nose shut with the rag, head tilted back. When the seasons change, I get them all the time, ever since I was little. She relaxes in her chair. My son's the same way. She marches her fingers along the keys, hits enter. Behind me, a knock rattles the door on its hinges. So, she says, drawing my gaze from the door back to her, are you good to continue? I remove the cloth from my nose. Inhale. Seems to have stopped. Thank you. She extends her hand for the rag, and after some hesitation, I give it to her. She tucks the soiled thing in the drawer again, meets my eye. As you probably gathered, this interview is a bit unorthodox. She steeples her fingers. At this point, we really just want to get to know you. Blood runs down the back of my throat. I glance down at my hands, wipe the gravel from my palms. She pulls a notepad from another drawer. Let's begin with some word association to better garner your personality. I swallow a clotted bit of blood, lean in. Sounds good. She opens the notebook and drags her finger down the page. Stops. Fire truck. Red? Statements only, please. Okay. She begins again. Happiness. Fleeting. She looks up at me. That's not what you really think, is it? Excuse me. You can't really think that. I sigh, ready to lay in the gravel I've dug. Excuse me. I sigh, ready to lay in the grave I've dug. Well, the way I see it, we usually remember being happy, though it's briefly, if ever, we realize in the midst of it. It says an awful lot about you, the way you view happiness. My stomach plummets as my chest constricts, tighter. I shrug because what else can I do? She closes her notebook, sets it by her tea. Let's try something else. She pushes out her chair, walks to the wall nearest the shrine, and wheels a cart I know wasn't there before over to me. A deep suitcase sits atop it. She unlatches the case's buckles, lifts its lid, and begins removing various wires and accessories from within. She jolts, turns to me. Do you consent to a polygraph test? I inhale, and a dozen questions hang from the tip of my tongue, clawing for freedom. But hope swells in me. Why go to all this trouble if I didn't already have the job? Sure, I say, and flash her a smile. There'll be no awkward stories of me freaking out in this interview come the Christmas party. She nods and wraps the blood pressure cuff around my arm, Velcro electrodes to the first and third fingers of my hand, and asks me to sit up as she wraps something tubular around my torso, securely fastening it there as my eyes awkwardly scan the ceiling. She hooks the machine to her computer and returns to her chair. Now, she says, typing something, double-clicking, I'll ask you some baseline things to establish a control, okay? Okay. She inhales, exhales. I suspect it starts to wear on you, being alone. The cuff tightens on my arm and I meet her gaze, her smile. That wasn't a question. She giggles. Oh, you're right. She clears her throat, theatrically straightening her posture. Does being alone wear on you? I don't know, I say, admiring the Velcro on my fingertips. I enjoy it, but the grooves in the Velcro, all those stray fibers intertwined, but it doesn't make loneliness any easier. She types a string of letters, taps enter. And you've let go of the idea of being with someone, correct? Why not ask questions pertaining to my resume, my qualification? Answer the question, Scott. I don't get how that's relevant to this interview. She laughs and reclines in her chair. A gnarled anger forms in my throat. I choke it down. The test? Trying to get a rise out of me? She tuts, shakes her head. I sigh, given to whatever this is. I don't know. Because you don't feel worthy, she says. Because you don't have a certain amount in the bank. Haven't been published by so-and-so, or yada yada. She leans in, as if you could ever achieve worth by a number or status alone. She leans back, sips her tea. I'm beginning to understand what you already know. That despite your apathetic exterior, you felt unworthy of love for most of your life. A stampeding of boots stomping out in the hall. Muffled voices rise beyond the red monolith. Annoyed, I glance at the door. Back to her. Raise my voice for all the noise. I mean, I wouldn't say that. Sirens blare from perhaps a street over. I wince, my nose bleeds, and I wipe the blood away. I guess I just haven't found the one, you know? She sighs, points to my hand, to the blood there. Haven't looked all that hard, though, have you? I open my mouth to reply, and don't. Something tells me she already knows I've occupied myself with other things. Distance myself from those closest to me, from my friends and their partners. All in all, great people, the best people. But those kisses during movies, they're love-drunk whispers while snuggled on either side of me. Each one is Chinese water torture. Crisp, defined. No matter how loud the movie blared, no matter how much I tried to ignore them and the fact that despite the past, I craved that as well. But I was chasing a dream, adopting the mantra, life's easier alone, tipping my hat to something I truly desired, seeing it off from that last way station, like murdering yourself. You've been quiet a while, she says, smirk on her face. Care to share with the class? You know, I stand tearing the blood pressure cuff and Velcro. tearing the blood pressure cuff and Velcro from me. I don't think I will. The tubular device falls to the floor. No job's worth this. You know it's not a weakness, right? To love and be loved. I turn for the door and stop. Whip around. This is the strangest fucking interview I've ever had. And yet, she says, standing as well, you're so unprepared for it. Chuckling, I shake my head, and with a step back, the door rattles, its knob twitching. The voices outside grow loud, their words indecipherable. The door shakes in anticipatory fervor, and dust drifts from the ceiling tiles. The scrolls and rugs tremble in their frames, vibrating, click-clacking against the drywall. I step back, and the door splinters inward with the ferocity of a shotgun discharged. Wha? I say, hands raised, retreating from the violence clawing in from beyond the door. What's... I grab the chair as unsteadiness creeps through me, and though my vision frays at the outermost portions, I see her hands clasped. What the hell's happening? I manage. She looks beyond me to the door, unconcerned. Doing their jobs is all. Boom, boom, boom. The sounds of rifle blast indoors, thunder atop rolling hills. The chair trembles in my grasp. What do you mean? My chest bursts outward, forcing my shoulders back. My spine cracks. I'm gone. Nowhere. The grit and pavement on my cheek, the glass and gravel in my hands, knees, and face. Prostrate. The sweet smell of antifreeze, oil, gasoline. Voices murmur around me, and though I can't open my eyes, I home in on them. Red and blue undulates in watercolored smears beyond my closed lids. A siren in the near distance, and there, if I strain, if I focus, crash, a voice says. Again, I inhale and awareness hits me in a torrent. I'm slumped against the wall, gripping the tiger rug hanging by the split door. She's standing beside me, slightly bent, her hand on my shoulder. There he is, she says, and her hand falls away. There you are. My eyes dart around the room, my lungs starved to locomotives gorging on air. My heart screams in my chest, and when I meet the cat clock's gaze, its tail sways, though its eyes don't leave mine. Loose, remnant voices echo in my mind, though the language is malformed, sailing farther away. Something bursts from within my chest, pinning me there, each joint a weight pumped with molten lead. I groan and raise my hand, meet her gaze again. Something's wrong. What's... You know, she says, lowering another steaming cup to me. Hearing is thought to be the final sense to leave. Did you know that? I think I read that somewhere. I take the tea with trembling hands. She leads me back to my righted chair, her hand gripping my arm. My chest thrusts again, and the tea launches over the desk. She holds me firm. I gasp at the pain, and my knees buckle, but I don't fall. She holds me while the scrolls and rugs descend from the walls, the shrine in the room's corner toppled and still, a dead or dying giant, though her desk is still The shrine in the room's corner toppled and still, a dead or dying giant, though her desk is pristine, thoroughly unmolested. She sips her tea, glances to the door. They're trying to resuscitate you. I grimace, my legs weak, and place a hand on the wall. What did you say? You heard me, she says, and guides me back to the chair before her desk, overstepping the toppled polygraph machine and cart gone awry. I know you did, Scotty Putty. Somewhere else now, looking up at a woman I love very much. Kindness in her eyes as she bends to me, portioning out more cabbage and bacon on the eye and ear segments of my cartoon animal plate. Love you, Scotty Putty, she says, crow's feet creased in the corners of her eyes. I smile and laugh in the way we all did before bills, stress, depression. I lean forward, pluck the portrait from the desk. She sips her tea, watching me. A photo I know well. A young woman, mid-20s or so, sitting by a man I've not seen in decades. He in his Marine Corps uniform, she in her black and white kimono. My breath chokes. Grandma. She laughs through her nose, sways left, right, left in her chair. Some see heaven in the God they worship there. Some float through the vastness of the cosmos, the nebula ushering them onward. I lean forward, but a raised hand stills me. The amount of DMT the brain releases upon death is extraordinary, or so we've read. So you've forgotten. She scoots forward, begins typing. Sad, really, that this is the best you can muster. It'd been raining. 2 blinding domes veered into my path. The screech of tires, the blast of the bus's horn a vibrato in my bones. The portrait of my grandparents slips from my fingers. No. Yes, she says. I sit back, white-knuckling the arms of my chair. You don't happen to have something stronger back there, do you? She chuckles and opening another drawer, withdraws a 5th of bourbon and a rocks glass. We have whatever you like, or at least anything you've had before. She sets the glass down, pops the cork, and pours. Besides, she says with a wink, it's on the house. I take the offered glass from her, my grandmother, who can't be more than 30, sitting across from me and smiling, always smiling. I sip, close my eyes, and it's the best bourbon I've ever had, but of course it is. The cat clock's eyes bounce from me to her, its tail still stuttering from when I'd grabbed it as a boy. I drain the cup and she refills it as the tears come. I should have asked you more about the war, I say, hand shaking as I take up the bourbon again. Tears melding with the poison. About your life. About holding your brother's hand while the bombs fell, sprinting with him to the shelter as the city sirens blared. I wipe the tears away. I notice my suit is torn, tattered. You were only 7, right? Tell me more about your life, please. She smiles, sips her tea. I only know what you know, remember? Then tell me what I know, I say, desperate for her words. Remind me. She shakes her head. No time for that, or much else now. I cradle my head in my hands. I was always a day ahead of myself. The next story, the next milestone, slave to almighty output at the expense of my entirety, as if productivity were a currency to be exchanged for little bits of peace, grains of worth. We've made a habit of learning lessons too late. I sniff in the snot, blood and tears, speak into my glass. All my life. Oh, she perks up, crossing her legs. A joke. I smirk, my head low, and slumped in that chair, singed incense permeating the room. Awareness in death is an ex-lover's condolences as they gather their things. She sips her tea, again, eyes on mine. White noise. She pops the cork on the bourbon, plops some into her tea. I think we're aware of death from the moment we're born. Perhaps that's why we wail with that first inhalation, ripped from our mothers in the lie that was their womb. We're mourning. She nibbles her cuticle, looks to the ceiling. You know, an evaluation here at the end of things says an awful lot about you, Scott. She sips her tea, leans back in her chair. Was it what you used to say? Oh, I can't seem to remember. She flashes a knowing look over the lip of her cup. Knows because I do, and mouths the words as I give them sound. What are we without goals but flailing mindless in the dark? The door creaks ajar behind me, and I turn to the luminescence spilling from its opening. Something far beyond the breach hums. This you sending me back? I ask, and turn to her. A second chance? She smirks and the room dims. Heavens no. Or at least, I don't think so. Cool air pulls through the office and shambles as the light in the doorway grows. There must be something off in my expression as I look at her. What? She asks, genuine concern lining her words. We don't usually have the luxury of things going well now, do we? My throat tightens. My grandma would never say that. I'm not her, remember? I'm you. This is all you. She lifts her hands to the office gone awry. A simulation of your dying brain. A visceral flood of DMT. I nod, waving her off, and upend the last of the bourbon, trying to remember when I'd had whiskey this good, where I'd been, who was with me. She taps the space bar and the speakers chime. You're free to go, you know. I peer into the ether, stumbling backward as the door opens another inch. The room grows frigid. Time burns. What's out there? I ask atop her typing. She shrugs. We don't know exactly, but what we do know, or what we at least think we know, is that no one does until they do. Can we walk out together? I chuckle. I'm actually afraid. She stops her typing, looks up at me. No, I don't think so. You're right, I say, peering further into illumination, thinking on all which was and is as I step to the door, thinking of the end of the future as I grip the thrumming knob, of how I'm always too late. I pull it open, on how one makes a life walk out into ... Huh, interesting. 2022, yeah, I have grown a lot since writing this story. Philosophically, ideologically, more as a person. This story was probably one of the first where I actually was starting to embrace like the Japanese part of me in my fiction. It's something I had never really kind of delved into all that much before. Yeah, it's interesting to read writing from years ago and see how much you've grown in prose and things like that, but also just in life. I'm nowhere near the workaholic I was when I wrote this story, or so I tell myself. Maybe I am. Anyways, yeah, I just figured I would kind of pop on here and do this every so often. Yeah. Again, this was from The Dead Inside. I believe Gemma Amor did the cover as well. Pretty beautiful art. And yeah, thanks Sandra, thanks Laurel for putting this together. Yeah, I hadn't read that since I last revised it and sent it to Laurel. So yeah, thanks for stopping by.